Welcome to the OMG Show.
All right, so this is a very interesting topic and very different from any of the ones that I normally get. But it's how is you as a business owner, let's say you have a business, let's say you do, for example, laser engraving, right? Maybe you do some cosplay work or something like that. How can you go about and build an automatic sales system when it's something that people don't normally think about, right? So I'm going to have fun with today's question because, again, it's kind of like that puzzle piece where we get to have a little fun and we get to experiment, okay? Now, again, I've talked about this metaphor before, and listen, I've never gone fishing. Well, listen, I have gone fishing, but I've never really caught anything. Okay, I caught seaweed one time. I caught maybe like a 4-inch fish. Nothing to really brag about. Nothing to say, you know what, I am a fisherman. Okay, but what I do know is that in order to catch fish, you need a couple things. You need, number one, you need to have the right bait, okay, and you need to know, where those fish are at, where are those fish located. And as long as you have pretty much those two, you can pretty much do a lot. You can do a lot. You increase your chances of being able to catch a fish that you really want to catch. Okay, so in the same sense, we're going to tackle this problem by focusing on those little skill sets, those two, and I have another one. Okay, but the first one, right? Let's think about this. We have to think about what's the fish that we want to catch, right? So who are the people that we want to work with? Who are the people that can benefit from our service? Okay, so that's the first thing that we need to do. We need to create a list. We need to create a list of people that can use our service. Okay, what industries are they in? What positions do they hold? When would they hire us? For example, laser engraving, typically at the end of the year, right? Or at the end of a quarter, whenever they're trying to do awards and things like that, right? That's when laser engraving, I would imagine, would have to go up. At least, for my corporate days, there's always an award with someone's name and you rock, right? So those are things we need to think about, right? Like, when is my product typically in demand, right? What about like sports and award ceremonies and things like that? There's a lot of different places where, you're going to be demand depending on special circumstances. So we need to first identify that list. Okay, we need to identify where those people are, right? Well, before that, we need to identify who they are, right? And when would they want to, essentially do business with you, right? We need to start there. So once we have that list, we then need to ask ourselves, where are these individuals? Where are these people? You see, it's kind of like going back when you're fishing, right? Like, we understand the kind of fish we want, but now we need to ask ourselves, okay, well, where does that fish hang out? Are they in rivers? Are they in lakes? Are they in the sea? Where are they? We need to know. So in the same sense, we need to know where those people hang out. Okay? And, depending on your market and who could use your services, there should be a way to figure out where they hang out. Whether it's like a trade association, whether it's a chamber of commerce, an online group, forums, whether they typically like to go to happy hour. They're people like to congregate. People, like to be in communities. And so people gather in communities when there is, I'm not even sure if this is a word, but like-mindedness. Right? When people are like-minded, typically they create a community. So where are those communities? Where do they hang out? Okay? Now, that's super important because that's where you're going to want to focus your marketing efforts. Okay? Where those people hang out. Now, the other thing you have to keep in mind too is that in the previous step, we went over when is it the best time for them to do business with you. So if there's a specific time that your business is typically more in demand, you want to make sure you're definitely inside of those communities during that time frame. That way you kind of, for lack of a better metaphor, kill two birds with one stone, right? We knock out where they are. We then understand that we're in demand and it's that time. So there you go. Okay. Now, how do we actually go about creating a sales system behind that? Well, you need to have an offer, right? We always start with an offer. We always have to have that in place. Okay, before we do anything else, we always need to have an offer. Okay, now once you have your offer ready, okay, that's when you can start building a sales system. Now listen, I'm a lover of paid traffic, okay? I love paid traffic. I've done the SEO thing. I've done organic growth, and to me, paid traffic is number one. So I'm going to encourage you to try paid traffic. And the reason why is because you can fail faster. All right, and I want you to fail faster because the faster you fail, that means the more you're testing. And the more you're testing, the more you're going to realize what works and what isn't working, right? Don't put all your eggs in one basket, try to make it perfect, launch it, and then, find out that no one wants it. And you spent all this time, money, and energy into creating something no one wants. What I'd rather you do is assume someone wants this, go out, put it in front of them, see what happens. And if it doesn't work out, okay, then we keep it moving and we go something else and we try something else. Okay. So, again, we start with the offer and then we go and we put that in front of them. So with paid traffic, we want to write ads, okay, that go out during the time when our product is in demand. Okay. And we want to write copy that speaks to the fish that we want to catch. Okay. So for example, if we're a laser engraving business and we know that end of the year is peak for our business because that's when everyone has award shows or what have you, then I know that I'm going to go heavy on a paid traffic campaign targeting, right, chambers of commerce's, specific business organizations, anything that has to do with business and, local networking groups, BNIs. I'm going to target all these different networks and I'm going to put an advertisement that says, hey, you've had an amazing year. Let's go ahead and celebrate all of your successes by creating something you'll never forget. Right? Boom. Here's an awesome award with person's name and whatever their achievement was, and let's make that someone feel special. Okay? Now, boom. So that's the ad, and then the ad goes to your sales funnel where you can take orders, right? Or you can get them on a phone call or however it is you normally take business, just replicate that inside of, the online space. Okay? But you want to make it easy. You want to decrease the path of resistance every which way that you can. So go ahead and do that. If it's, add to phone call, add to application, add to order, and then have a phone call, whatever that may be, that's the process you want to put in place. Okay? But now you might be saying, well, Oscar, that's great. That's only when my product is in high demand. What happens the rest of the year? Right? Well, that's when you got to start building relationships. Okay? Transactional relationships. Because you have to think that you're in here for the long term. So therefore, you have to start focusing on relationships rather than revenue. Because relationships over the long term bring in revenue. Okay? If you focus solely on revenue in the short term, you're not going to get very far. So what you want to do is have a system in place, right, where perhaps you're educating them on different things that they can use your products and services for. Maybe awards isn't the only thing that laser engraving is good for. There might be some other things that I haven't really thought about, right? Because, we're not in there. We don't know. So what we don't know is not in our mind. So we, as the business owner, have to carry the burden to educate our market on what else they can use our services for. Okay. You could also do something, for example, like put out, a giveaway, like top 10 ways to celebrate your employees, right? Because as we all know, retention is vital in the workplace. Right? Retention is vital when it comes to membership programs, especially with online. So if you're a laser engraving company and you're going to go out there and be like, hey, listen, here's an awesome way to increase retention, and it's by awarding your employees. Here's 10 ways you can do it. Right? Here's a free PDF or a free whatever it is. And at the end it says, hey, if you ever need us to create an award specific for you or help you come up with these amazing rewards, give us a call. Okay? But now you have a system. You have two systems now. One to capture the high demand traffic when it's ready, and it's going to go after those big fish that can buy your services. And then you have a system that's going to be building your lead generation machine, so that way when it's time for your business to When it's time for your product or service to be in demand, that's now amplified even more because you've already built that relationship. Okay, and that is how we start to put our message out there in terms of how our business can help someone, even if our business is not on top of their minds. All right. Thanks so much for listening to today's show. I'll see you on the next one.